12 o'clock. Are we just so excited to be here today? Yes. I'm Brenna Litynski. I'm super excited to be talking to you guys about marketing agricultural businesses in a digital world, and hopefully give you some tools and ideas on how to either start marketing yourselves digitally or how to improve upon your digital marketing portfolio. So before I get into it, you're probably wondering, who is this woman talking to me? My name is Brenna. I graduated from the University of Wyoming last year with my master's degree in animal and veterinary science with an emphasis on how to apply sprouted grain and cattle nutrition. So it was a great experience. Ended up getting hired into Extension, super exciting. And I'm the Ag and Natural Resource Extension Educator down in Albany County. So I wear a lot of hats, I do a lot of different things. This year I'm putting on some natural resource programming, some wildfire programming, just ag and ranch management kind of programming as well, and working with some lovely ladies around the state, Michaela Getz and Haley Sword, on some programming that educates people about agriculture and natural resources through art. And on the side, I'm also a fine artist, illustrator, and digital designer. And I'm so lucky with my job in Extension that I'm able to incorporate the things that I'm passionate about into my work at the office. And so I think the skill sets that I've acquired in my personal life with, fine art, illustrating children's books, website design, logo design, those are all things that I'm really privileged and honored to use to be able to help producers and people in my area improve upon their digital marketing skills and what they're doing to promote their business. So before I get too deep into this, I want to say me talking about digital marketing isn't me downplaying traditional marketing, right? So traditional marketing is really important for your business. That could be flyers, it could be word of mouth interactions, like in this drawing, right? You could sponsor your logo at the local rodeo. So traditional marketing is really important. Digital marketing, however, can really just help you enhance not only what you're already doing with traditional marketing, but it's just another way to reach not only a wider audience, but to kind of network yourself to more people. So we're going to kind of start out with what the heck is digital marketing and work through some strategies and techniques that you can use to effectively market your business in a lot of different ways, and how to set goals and objectives to get there, right? So, does anyone in this room, when I say the word digital marketing, do any of you know what that means? You can guess, it's fine.
Putting yourself out on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's also referred to as online marketing. It's pretty self-explanatory. That could be social media, that could be a website, that could be email communication, really anything where you're using the internet or digital platforms to market yourself. And essentially what you're doing is you're promoting your brand. How many of you all in here have an agricultural business or want to start an agricultural business? Okay, great. So I think in today's day and age with agricultural businesses, it's really important, if you want to be successful, that you're diversifying your business, right? For those of you who have an ag business in here, do you just do one thing? Some yeses, some no's, mostly no's, right? You're doing lots of things. So if you're, I have friends who have a direct-to-market beef business, but they also sell horses, and they also do corn stalk fences, and they also do 10 other things, right, to have a successful business. So digital marketing, not only are you promoting, yourself and your brand, but you're also able to market all of the different things that you do to all of the different appropriate audiences. So there's a quote by Bill Gates, and it's, if your business isn't online, then your business will be out of business. And I think that's especially true even in the agricultural sector. I've noticed just in my personal experience and networking in the Albany County community anyways, that there's a lot of agricultural producers and businesses that don't market themselves digitally. They kind of just, they have a network in place, which is great, but there's another level of success to be found if you're incorporating the right tools and skill sets into how you're presenting yourself to a wider audience. It also allows for you to interact and engage with consumers directly. So, they're emailing you, or maybe they're directly messaging you on social media platforms. Not only are you establishing connections with a lot of different people that maybe you never would have met before, but you're also becoming an integral part of the community, which is really important for the longevity of your business as well. Digital marketing also gives you the opportunity to have a digital storefront and e-commerce. So, it's great. Farm stands, farmers markets, those types of physical storefronts are really important. But your digital storefront and your e-commerce, just kind of open you up to a whole new world of productivity, right? I mean, how many of us use Amazon in this room? Everybody. I mean, I'm Gen Z, right? I do all my shopping online. So it's important to allow your customers the opportunity to purchase from you, but, and I'll talk to you more about this later, accessibility is really important as well. Making things accessible to your clients and your customers not only entices them to want to do business with you, but it's really appealing to them, right? If I'm, it kind of goes back to if I'm on a website that's kind of outdated, right, versus a website that's more updated, I'm gonna go with the one that's more updated regardless of the quality of the product. A, it's more accessible. I'm not gonna get frustrated with, the modules and the buttons that don't really work or are super outdated and slow. I think we live in an age of instant gratification, right? Consumers want things and they want to be able to access them very easily. So having an efficient, well-built digital storefront and e-commerce options is really important. It also allows you to stand out amongst your competitors. So there's a lot of ag businesses that unfortunately they don't have the digital marketing that's either in place, or if it is, it's really outdated and hard to access and hard to use, or it's just maybe really slow. So having efficient digital marketing strategies and a portfolio is also important. And while there are some upfront costs associated with digitally marketing yourself, such as a website or maybe even paying for boosts on social media, that can be maybe discouraging, right? To spend $50 on a domain a year or something like that. But it's important to think about it as, hey, I'm investing in this, I'm investing in my future just like I would in any other piece of equipment on my operation, or like I would in another cow, right? It's a tool that is very necessary in this day and age. The next thing I wanted to mention was the importance of storytelling for your agricultural business. I think consumers really crave connection. They want to know not only where their food is coming from, but they also want to know the story behind you and what you're doing. And if you're like me, you hate talking about yourself, but it's important, right? So let's say you have a cow-calf operation. Again, we kind of live in this age of instant gratification. People live vicariously through their electronic devices. They want to know who you are, what you can offer them, what your story is, and how you're contributing to your local community. So not only, you can market your story traditionally via flyers and different things like that, but marketing yourself digitally allows you the opportunity to tell your story to a wider audience. And, I've stated before, people live vicariously through their phones. A lot of people who live in cities or urban areas, they don't get that opportunity to connect with the places that are selling their food. Instead, they crave that connection and that interaction and that education through their electronic devices, right? I know me personally, I was inspired to pursue a career in agriculture because of the hands-on experiences that I had in agriculture, working for the USDA in Cheyenne or attending the University of Wyoming Ranch Camp. Those were the things that, really inspired me and educated me about agriculture, where our food comes from, all of those amazing things. A lot of people can't get that, and so it goes back to telling your story is really, really important, especially for those people who can't get that hands-on experience in agriculture. The next thing that's really important with digital marketing is defining your audience. So let's say you are a direct-to-consumer meat company. You're not going to market to people like me. I'm poor, okay? I'm in my early 20s. I can't afford to go and buy a whole beef, right? But if you're targeting the millennials who have already made their money, or even the middle-aged people who want to buy beef products for their family in large quantities, that would make more sense, right? Or let's say you're selling some kind of grass-fed dairy product, right? You're marketing as this health product. It's really good for you. Maybe you're gonna target the gym rats, the health people, right? I go to the gym all the time. I always hear people wanting, healthy products, healthy this, healthy that. So defining your audience and finding your niche is also going to be really important. Who in here can give me another example of a ag business that they're in? Horses, yeah, sure. So it depends on what kind of horses you're marketing, right? If you're marketing rodeo kids, what age group are you going to target? Are you maybe a professional, you're selling professional level rodeo horses, maybe you'll target some older folks, or at least older than me, right? So defining your audience, really important to the success of your business, whether you're marketing traditionally or digitally, but especially with digitally, because with digital marketing, you can kind of tailor your content and the things that you're putting out on the internet to your audience. So for example, on social media, if you're trying to market to millennials or an older age group, you're not going to put the latest pop single out with your post, right? You're going to put something more tasteful and classy to market to those people. So thinking about the types of content that you're putting out to match your audience will be important to your success.
And that helps you brand yourself separate from other people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The importance of setting goals. So before there will be a group activity with this workshop, but as an athlete, I was a former collegiate swimmer. And so I know more than anybody how important it is to set realistic goals, emphasis on realistic, right? So to tie this back to my swimming career, I was never like, well, I'm gonna go to the Olympics, right? I was like, no, I'm gonna set weekly, monthly, annual goals for myself as an athlete. It's the same with digital marketing. We don't wanna say, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go viral, I'm gonna be so famous with my business, right? We wanna be realistic in what we're posting. Maybe you gain 10 followers a week, and then 2 years down the road, maybe that's like, well, I want to gain 30 followers a week. So setting benchmark and realistic goals is going to be really crucial to your success, so that not only do you keep yourself encouraged, but you have goals for your business and where you want it to go. So this is the group activity that I want to get to before I continue to talk to you about different strategies that you can use. So I want you to kind of talk to your neighbor or 2 or 3 people. Firstly, who are you? I don't know you. What's your story, right? That's the most important part of all of this. What sets you apart from your competition? Maybe you're a family-owned company and that is one of your core values. You're traditional or sustainable ag, or you sell cutting-edge horses, right? What's your story and how do you set yourself apart? And what services do you provide, right? And with the story element, what's the why behind what you do? Why are you in agriculture? You could do anything, right? But why is what you're doing important? You have to be able to articulate that to your audience. The next question that I kind of want you guys to talk about is well, what are your goals, right? Kind of already talked about this, but what do you hope to accomplish, you know, at your place or for your business in 1, 5, 10 years? Doesn't have to be super lengthy, just get yourself thinking about it. And, you know, how do you want to expand and grow your operation? What kind of an impact do you want to have on your community? The last question is, who do you think that your audience is? You know, what age group and who and where are you selling your services or items to? So I want you to talk to your neighbor about that for the next 5 or 10 minutes, kind of get an idea of how you want to, you know, market yourself to your audience, and then we'll kind of come back together.
All right, Vince. I can't supply that to the individuals. My intent is small, very much larger, a lower number of attempts. But my wife, she's all in.
I know you guys would like the digital marketing.
All digital. And in fact, she loves this story. And so it goes for sales increase. Yeah, and was able to get rid of employees.
It's always good to have somebody like her on your
So a lot of that.
Right now, it's all 8 people lined in the park. Sometimes they're a little out of touch with times too. Their services are
There's a store, but manufacturing. Local people know what they have orders.
I mean, it is true. There's an evolution.
But really, for us,
There's not like to get ours.
But we recruit, we put things out.
They're not reading the newspaper. Using our influencer groups. So are you here?
No, I spent time at an office.
So, yeah, and I think that's the thing that's different with people starting and trying to build. We've got word of mouth, forever established generation.
Why is that?
Things like that. That's the best thing to happen. But, you know, that doesn't always happen. I would hate to, you know, not to hate to always find we got market available at the time. That's I guess you can look at it more like a wholesale retail thing. Wholesale providers versus.
Are all the positions filled? Extensions?
But it's nice.
One ag open and one. We have it's a never-ending challenge to get
Well, we're finding
around here.
it seems to be a lot of the young students come through the system that are interested in especially
A lot of Facebook.
I don't know why.
I don't know, because our marketing
We're having a hard time
push out there, a lot of things out.
even in our internships.
You know, I can't
I
provide.
don't know what it is,
So
but
here's the thing, just for the neighbor, I'll have to remain unnamed. I like the concept of
pipeline that
it.
season's coming out of the ocean and water
They went to
this year.
red
Now we have
marketing.
to work a lot harder to.
what do you think they're going with? What do they
I
need?
need, oh yeah.
Because the enrollment in ag business is still the same. Hey, I'm
I think, at least, well, part of our policy is we
It's a growth most of the time you ask
more of the master's teams are
talk
coming
about
from
Amazon finding everything back to
yeah.
so some of the kids are just moving on.
At one time, Amazon was
Before they get to the master's,
life way into 5 figures because they just didn't pay for anything. Amazon was selling their product,
There's only so many spots in the
saying, well, can you sell sure this, that, or the
They're
other?
still trying to,
And
they have to recruit for those too, because they don't get.
Hey, buddy.
At a half a million people that they owed us $100,000 a piece.
He's interested in marketing,
And
so
it
that's
took
good.
the class action lawsuit. So Mr. Ray and the ethos, that's great. If you start a business, run it on everybody else's stuff, you don't pay your bills. It's not the guy, Kelly.
You're looking for,
That's the side of things that they don't tell you on when they're talking about the great businesses.
How do we reach out? We hire them.
Yes, and they got settled, but it took over a year.
Some of our best officers came.
So that guy was sitting on, $250,000 people at 50,000 or 100,000 for a year, interest free. And what they do now still, and this is part of the stuff with the AI, and they were even talking about it with like China and everything, what they're coming in with your deals. They run those algorithms, so they know what to sell. So everything that's going through Amazon and people are buying on Amazon, certain suppliers, when they see a trend that's popping up, Amazon goes in and straight to China and purchases every bit of it themselves. And they're cutting out the suppliers of the people that were actually marketing through them. And that's happening constantly. So it's not all, yeah, well, it's easy for the consumer, but it's not all what it appears to be.
Alright, so it sounds like the conversation is dying down a little bit. Has everyone got to talk about who their audience is and what they're marketing? Sweet. Well, wait a second. You can continue talking.
Chance
Technical.
interrupted your deal.
Oh, that's okay. I asked him to. Okay, well, the next thing that I was going to talk about was branding yourself, right? So, how many of your ag businesses have some kind of a logo or recognizable business name at least? Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. So, there's a couple ways and things to think about when you're thinking about branding yourself. You basically want to put together this packet. And it's not a physical packet, it's a digital packet. So with your logo, you can do it in one or two ways. You can do it in a way that's, it tells a story visually, it has your name on it, it's more complex, right? But it's still visibly recognizable. You don't want a logo that's something that's, got lots of small pieces and parts to it where someone's gonna look at it and be like, I don't know what's going on. It's still very clear, concise, and it communicates your brand. Or you can go the route of doing something that's very simple. It's a symbol that communicates who you are and it's easily recognizable.
Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. Thanks. So this is for later. It's a preview, a teaser, if you will. Thank you so much, Chance. Go back to PowerPoint. Yeah, so you can do it complex, right? You can have your name on it. It tells a story, right? These are logos that I put together for various extension programs. So University of Wyoming Pesticide Safety Education Program, right? It's got recognizable imagery. You see it, you know what it's going to be. Likewise, me and Michaela and another educator, Haley Sword, are putting together Wyoming Ag and Art Tours. You see it, you know it has something to do with art and agriculture regardless of the text on there. So the other thing you can do, right? Have a symbol. Have something, someone sees it from a mile away and they're like, oh my gosh, it's them, I know them. It's clear, concise, conveys a message, and it also sets yourself apart from the competition, right? And so this one I created in my personal business, but it's important to know, this guy, he had a meat business and he wanted something that was very recognizable, but it also happens to be very similar to his cattle brand. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, it's just something that represents your business. And I am not an attorney or a lawyer, but always make sure when you're thinking about a logo to file for appropriate trademarks and copyrights. And then also thinking about what social media platforms are you going to target. With marketing and ag business, you're trying to tell a story. So using more of a visual channel is something that I recommend as opposed to just text, right? Someone who knows nothing about agriculture or where their food comes from, they're not going to understand when you tweet, hey, I just branded my cows today, right? You're going to have to explain to themselves visually, what you're doing and what you're about. So me personally, I recommend, Instagram or Facebook or something where people can see what you're doing and who you are. I just pulled these from the internet because I follow them. The Padlock Ranch Company, they have a symbol, right? It's very, clear, you can recognize it. The UW Extension Ranch Camp was there last year, that's why I picked this ranch. But the other important thing to note is that their bio, it's like, bam, this is who we are. It's very clear, and they put themselves out there immediately, right? Tradition, innovation, excellence, an integrated cow-calf feedlot and farm operation committed to ranching with excellence. And they have the appropriate links to go with that, right? They're not saying, well, these are all our employees, and this is what we do, and we also do these 10 other things, right? It's one sentence, everybody can understand it. This is another great example, more complex logo, right, but very easily recognizable. Yes, it tells a story, it's not necessarily a symbol, but it's very well done. And you can recognize it from a mile away. And another great example of keeping it short and sweet, we are a Wyoming ranch, ag advocates, we live the ranch life. That's who they are. It's not too complicated to where someone's going to get lost in the details. And so I think overall, when you're thinking about marketing yourself on social media, the emphasis has to be on storytelling. So telling your story visually and also through text, and making sure obviously that you're being professional and and everything else, right? You don't want to go in with uniform content. You don't want to post a picture of your cattle and then a picture of your daughter in the ballet recital. So while we would all love to see that, we want to make sure you're marketing your business in the most effective way and that everything is uniform. And really invest in community engagement. So you're trying to not only sell, but you're trying to form connections. Ag is a very community-oriented business, and so it's important that we're engaging all members of the community when you're marketing your business. And kind of to go with that, you're networking yourself to a wider audience, right? Not only to clients, but also maybe to potential business partners. So that could be the place you're taking your animals to slaughter, or that could be, someone you pursue a new business venture with in the future. It's, just an opportunity. And website. So now we can go to the website. I'm so sorry. And the website that I'm going to take you through, the only reason I'm choosing that website is because I'm comfortable presenting it. I built it. But it's going to give you a good idea of things you need to incorporate in a website should you build one or should you hire someone to build one.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Would you like me to?
You could just take me back to the PowerPoint. That'd be awesome. So immediately what we see, right, we see the brand, we see the statement, right? We know they're a meat company, they're home raised, they're in the sandhills of Nebraska. The other thing that a lot of people don't think about, and I could go on my rant about how art is important in all fields, but I won't. You know, when I was designing this, you have to think about how you want to approach your viewers. You don't necessarily, if you're a family-owned business, you don't necessarily want to punch them in the face with bold, bright colors immediately, right? This guy, he's a family-owned meat company, so he wanted it to feel like that, to feel warm and inviting. And so I chose warm brown tones to do that. So it's those little things that maybe you may not necessarily think about, but are equally important in marketing what you're doing. And it explains who they are immediately. The color palette is continuous. It's uniform content, and it's all related to what he's doing. And it's important when you're, I'll take you through digital e-commerce in a second. When you're doing this, make sure that there's ease of access, and while you're trying to explain who you are and what you're doing, that there's multiple places where they can contact you and get in touch with you, right? It goes back to accessibility. You want to be accessible to your audience. So I'm going to take you through the online storefront. Again, it's the same uniform branding throughout. There's very clear instructions on, okay, if you have an online store, what does ordering look like? What's the timeline? What are your customers paying upfront? Is there a deposit? Make sure you're making things as clear and succinct as possible. And of course, always include, applicable pricing and everything like that. The last thing I'll say about this is, obviously, you want to have your about and contact page, separate, it's uniform, but the most important thing that you can do for your website is make sure that you're consulting an attorney for terms and conditions and a privacy policy. Those are the things that, oh my gosh, we don't think about, but we really need to be conscious of. So your terms and conditions is basically, hey, when you're engaging with our website, don't do unlawful things, don't do illegal things with our website. Abide by these rules. If you're using our website, you agree to these rules that we have set for you. And that can also apply to use of the online store, ordering things, how that's going to happen, etc. I know for this one, he also included, we are not liable for how you cook your meat, right? We provide USDA inspected meats, but, by purchasing our meats, that, you are responsible for cooking your meat in an appropriate way. And your privacy policy is basically the same thing, but it informs the users about how you're collecting their data. So, when they're ordering something, they have to incorporate maybe credit card data or names or email information. So it just informs your clients how you're using their information. That'd be so awesome. I'm so sorry, kids. Thank you. Well, that's okay. Okay, yeah, no, thank you so much. So branded communication is the last thing that I'm going to talk about. Again, we're putting together this packet. So you want to make sure that everything in your packet is branded appropriately, whether that's your website, your social media, or the things that you create with digital tools. So while flyers and everything else are considered traditional marketing, you might use digital tools to create those flyers or send them in an email digitally, right? So making sure that everything is branded and it flows, and when people see whatever material you're providing to them, it's congruent with all of your other material. So when you're creating, a flyer, you're going to your local restaurant and you're saying, hey, I want to be able to provide you with ground beef, this is my prices, and etc. You want to be able to provide them with the appropriate information. So making sure if you're making a pitch digitally or traditionally, make it very clear what are you marketing and what's your elevator pitch. So when I say elevator pitch, a lot of people think about that as, book authors pitching it to an editor, right? But it also applies to every sector of business. If you're in an elevator or room with a client, you want to be able to explain to them what you're doing in 3 or 4 sentences. hey, I'm an alfalfa producer, this is why I do it, and this is where we're located, and this is why I want to sell to you. So having that prepared in your mind, as well as on paper for your marketing materials, is going to be really important. And again, think about what is your packet going to look like. How are you going to use digital design concepts and principles to effectively market yourself? I know a lot about this just because I do art, but maybe consulting with some kind of designer or an artist or someone like that could help you understand, hey, this is why we place things in a certain way on your digital flyers, or maybe you can use these colors on your website. So I encourage you to pursue appropriate services if you have questions like that. So overall, I've just unloaded a whole bunch of strategies to promoting and branding your business. If you have questions, feel free to ask. This is also my extension contact information, and thank you for letting me talk to you today.
Any questions for Brenna?
Are you charged to set one up?
Well, that's an outside of extension question. I'd be happy to talk to you.
What do you think is the most overlooked quality of digital marketing? Is it just putting everything together so it looks the same? Or?
You know, I'm not honestly sure if there's one right answer. I think in agriculture, there is somewhat of a sentiment, we've done it this way for so long, why would we do something new? And so digital marketing is definitely very new, and you know, maybe you do need to talk to someone who's familiar with it. I also think it's kind of an art, and art is often overlooked as, why do I need this? I'm running counts, right? So that would be my answer, but there's a lot of different answers to that.
All right. Well, thank you, Brenna.
Yes, yes.